Happy holidays, everybody! The winter season has kicked off and it is time to reunite with family, spread positivity, and have a wonderful time. And it is a great time to make a video on Nekopara. Oh, where to start with this one? I know, maybe the games. The Nekopara games on Steam are everyone's favorite visual novels about borderline furries running a cake shop. They brought a lot of success as a well-known game of its kind. It's also way less expensive than other games of its kind. How is this ancient piece of software still $60 goddamn dollars? After its initial release, it quickly spawned a franchise and an overwhelmingly positive amount of Steam reviews. Now, why don't we look at some Steam reviews? Steam has fewer pretentious reviews than Mal, so I don't need highly advanced cognition levels while reading a review for once. Thank you, Steam, for having casuals. This one is a positive review, and the writer says, "This game makes me feel like I can actually talk to females. 10 out of 10. That's good, it helped Jagler boost his self-esteem." Another says, "The only game on Steam that has a chest bounciness slider in the options menu. Absolutely revolutionary." From Trash Can. Okay, you got me. It's porn. This game is a porn meme, and people play this game to jerk off, ironically, according to these Steam reviews. I swear, after doing some chaste research, it felt like the main guy would fuck an actual cat after how much pussy he gets. Okay, so is this OVA gonna be porn or not? Well, we'll find out when I watch the damn thing. It's currently November when I recorded this, so we'll just have to wait and see. But before I do that, I'll give you some backstory on my experience with this OVA and the company who made it. In May, I found out about this OVA when scrolling through the internet and found a Kickstarter that raised nearly $1 million. I read the page that was full of stupid cat puns, and it even came with a PV which actually looked pretty alright. I thought it would be pretty cool if I watched it at some point. I didn't buy it in any way, shape, or form because I do not want to buy something I don't like, and after I watch it, I'm glad I didn't. I mean, what was I expecting? This is made by Felix Film, an animation studio that has only made one show before, and they didn't even make it by themselves. The show is, I'm not pronouncing that. I looked at it to see what I was up for when anticipating for Nekopara, and the show looks terrible. The color palette is weird, the animation is bad, and there are even errors in the sound design. I dropped it after the first episode, and it made me feel far less hopeful for the OVA, and I was right with that feeling. I'll tell you what I mean. We start off with main guy and his little sister going on a little stroll in the rain. Like normal people. Then they find two Nikos in a cardboard box. This image is hilarious because the person who put those kittens, children, I don't fucking know, hate their kids enough to put them in a cardboard box in the middle of the open while it's raining, yet love them enough to give them good clothes. The siblings just scoop them up and bring them home. They don't call the police, nothing. Someone looking out their window just may call this kidnapping. Boom, the PV, I mean opening plays. Wait, didn't I see this part? They just showed us this adoption thing like 2 minutes ago. Am I goldfishing these people or something? In the PV, again, I mean the opening, there is a lot of chibi, so you better like it cause there's gonna be a lot more of that. Now we move on to about 5 to 10 years later, around when the events of the games play out, and we're introduced to our female leads, Chocolate and Vanilla. They're color-coded so you can tell which one is which. Here's their personalities. Genki Girl, Kudere. That's all you need to know. They spend a couple scenes being cute, and the real drama starts about 7 minutes into it, you know, after this long, unfunny joke about women's periods. Main guy, whose name is never mentioned, is moving to a new place for his patisserie, and he can't bring his stray cats along with him for some reason. Vanilla, and especially Chocolate, don't want to leave their master because they love him and all this gooey shit. They try to be emotional with scenes of Chocolate crying because she really doesn't want him to leave. It strikes me as odd that they really want to make me feel something even though I barely know these characters or care for them at all. I can't say they're attached to him as much as they say because I don't really see much chemistry other than the cat sticking around while he calls them cute. Oh, you beat on the carpet. Let me pay you for it. I don't feel any dramatic tension when I do not feel anything dire is happening, and he raised the Nikos isn't an excuse I'll take. Why did they have to throw this dumb crap at me when all I should be doing is enjoying a cute series about Nikos instead of random whimsical drama? But more importantly, why is this in the beginning? It seems like they were trying to convey a big emotional moment that would be in the climax, so why not put it at the end? My theory is that they most likely started making an OVA that was around 30 minutes long before the Kickstarter was ever made. It's pretty typical for anime production to have a head start before anything is greenlit, so they have a basis of what's going on. They must have wrote this to be the main conflict since it takes up a lot of the first half. Once they got the Kickstarter money, the production staff most likely had to change up the story, yet kept the main drama intact while filling in the rest of the OVA with a few mini-stories. This is really stupid in my opinion. Trigger had to stretch out the story of the sequel to Little Witch Academia when they had reached their goal. Imagine if the main conflict in that movie, which was the town facing doom from a tree monster that concluded in 20 minutes and then it randomly cut to the girl's antics of tracking down an undead guy. It wouldn't really make sense, right? It would break the pace of the movie, and that's pretty much what happened in Nekopara. They didn't have much of an excuse either because Trigger only had about 2/3 of the money, yet still managed to make an airtight, enjoyable story with amazing animation. While Nekopara just sat there and said, fuck it, we're keeping it like this because we're gonna make money off these weeaboos anyway. Yeah, cause screw the whole concept of effort. Moving on to about 30 minutes in, the main guy decides to keep them because it would be a great gimmick to have a Neko patisserie. I'm so glad everyone had a happy ending, even though it isn't actually the ending. He opens his shop and his first customer is totally not his sister that we saw in the beginning. Actually, I was tricking you. It was actually his sister. Did I trick you? Yeah, because the show didn't. Whoa, how did all these people get here? This is a lesson to always lock your doors, kids. Anyway, these are his sister's Nikos and they boast about having a belt, essentially permits for Nikos to be independent. It's like becoming a freed slave. Unfortunately, Vanilla and Chocolate do not have one of these, so they enter one of the worst training sequences I have ever seen. Most of it is in this awful looking, definitely not $1 million worthy chibi art style with the worst jokes I have ever seen. This includes the most obvious sex joke imaginable that drags you through the pits of Satan's nostrils, people being dumbasses in an irritable instead of funny kind of way, and some assholes I don't care about fighting over stupid shit. I could get into more detail, but I don't want to rip my hair out analyzing why I hate everything in this sequence and will be here all day if I do that. Oh, and also I forgot to mention this thing is an agonizing 15 minutes long. I feel like I would have been ripped off if I had invested money into this thing, at least if I paid for the Blu-ray anyway. When I looked at the success of the Kickstarter, I was really excited about the sheer amount of money that they could spend on Sakuga and more in-between animators. Maybe it could have some beautiful animation with an art style that is really generic but admittedly really nice. I'm talking about K-On! Season 2 levels of animation, but not the movie, cause that's pushing it. Imagine what the Little Witch Academia could have looked like if it had $1 million too. It wouldn't look like this, that's for sure. I get that they wanted to have a more relaxing tone with this part with a goofier art style, but when it is so painful to watch that I can barely describe it, I'm sure that there's a problem. If the characters and jokes were actually funny, I may like this, but this is awful garbage and I wish the pain didn't last as long. Final mini-plot, thank God. Main guy and his Nikos have fun at an amusement park doing some generic stuff like going on a ride when main guy is scared and the girls are relatively nonchalant. They go to a haunted house that scares the panties off the cats. They eat ice cream and all those doodads, just running through the errands, checking off every generic thing you could possibly do, which is mind-numbing to someone who has watched their fair share of animes. What did Felix Film think? They probably thought that people would enjoy this because there are Nikos or something. Is that what the fans of the franchise really care about? Do the writers think most people have this low standards? I honestly think they're right on that one. Anyway, the last thing they do while they're there is go to the whale show and he prevents a pussy from getting wet. Come on man, he's cockblocked the only thing I've wanted out of this OVA. Now that he's wet instead of the pussy, he catches a cold. Now the cats have to take care of him and it reminds them about how they were taken care of by main guy that I forgot to mention because I honestly did not care enough to do so. I saw this like half an hour ago. You don't have to flash back to it. You shouldn't have to assume my brain is the same size as a cat's. I have the ability of short-term memory, thank you very much. They are so scared that their master will die that they run over to the closed drugstore that the sister mentioned to get some medicine. Do they not know what a medicine cabinet is? These pussies got so scared about their master dying from a cold that they ran to the drugstore instead of looking for some Buckley's in the cabinet.
Buckley's. It tastes awful, and it works.
Hell, there's probably a first aid kit in the shop if they were that desperate. What has that Neko training done anyway? Did it train you to suck cock? Oh wait. So they sprint all the way to the store without their bells. I love how surprisingly non-forceful these police officers are for catching some cats in an illegal circumstance. They're just smiling at these feline felons that they're taking into custody when a normal police officer would put them on the ground for failing to comply with them. They try to outrun the law until Deus Ex Sick Guy comes with the bells, who walked in the rain with seemingly little to no idea of what was going on and he was about to pass out. How the hell did he do that? Even Saitama couldn't manage to maneuver his way through the rain by himself. A time skip happens and boom, happily ever after. And oh yeah, the other Nekos become waiters at the patisserie. How come you need waiters instead of cooks? I'm sure that would be a priority when it's only main guy cooking, but that is a problem to solve in the next OVA. Even though I hope this thing doesn't get another OVA. It's shocking to me how this thing made so much money and people accept this shit. If you look at the reviews on Mal, you would know that there are a plentiful amount of satisfied customers or people who felt like their time wasn't wasted. I definitely know that if I had a copy of this that I would be mad about it, but hey, that's just me. Maybe you really like that maid outfit for your cat. Can't tell you how to dress your pet, but this guy can, that's for sure. Oh, I just realized that there is no porn here. Yes, I can post it on YouTube now. Now fans of the games can say I was a nitpicky asshole today because it's just a show for us and I sound like a 12-year-old girl in the comment section. But if you still like me anyway, that means you're cool enough to like the video and you think it's worthy enough to share around. If you really like me, you can follow me on Twitter and I'll be streaming the new Little Witch Academia game next month on Twitch. Links to all that in the description. Other than that, thanks for watching and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.